Alright, we're going to be looking at the mount in this video and some tips just for holding the person in place, particularly while you're striking in MMA. And the key piece that we're going to look at on this video at least is the head position that the other person is going to be trying to obtain to generate a bit of power, and how we're just going to simply block that to deny some of their power. See if I get Matt down on the ground here. I climb into a pretty standard mount position. From here, almost all of the core fundamental attacks that he might do would require him to be doing a little bit of crunch. In other words, with the exception of just hip bumping, most of the time he's going to be bending and crunching up through his hips like this to try and effect escapes, and slightly crunched up into this position. So his head, instead of in on the center line, is starting to come off to this position. If his head can't get into this position, it's very hard for him to start affecting that kind of shape and that kind of movement. So what I'm going to do here is, instead of trying to counter-attack this with a bunch of more complicated work, I'm simply just going to push his head back to the middle. So from here, I'm either going to use my palm or my forearm from here. So as he's crunching in and coming into this position, I'm just going to block it. But I'm going to block it early in this chain of events. So if I'm in a standard kind of riding position from here and I'm striking, when I feel him trying to move and hip out on one side from there, so let's say he goes that way again, early on in this chain, I'm just going to block it and sweep it back in. Now I have to be a little bit careful if I'm using that forearm from there. If I'm coming in, I do this and then he ends up wrapping around my arm from here. Now this is starting to get a bit trapped up. So you can block and use the hand here and keep your elbow out nice and wide. But as long as you're fast with it, it's not too much of a big deal. Just slide that back a little bit from here. So I'm in this position, striking away. I feel him move the head out to one side, yeah, and I just block it and move it back to the middle. Let's say he moves it out the other way, same deal. I just block this head and bring it back in to the middle. Moves out this way again, maybe I do it with the palm, just block it, drive it back to the middle. I don't have to be moving it much even. I can just be blocking that piece of work, that bit where he tucks and gets onto one hip. From there, if I'm stopping that from happening and kind of keeping his spine straight, this gives me a decent way of keeping him from getting the power he needs and the position he needs. So once again, as he moves out to the side from there, I just catch his head, drive it back into the middle, and if you can follow straight up with some strikes there and then re-stabilize, it gives you a nice little tactic you can use, again, particularly if you're combining strikes as well, to get this person stable in position. One more time, from the middle, striking in from here. He rolls his head out to the side to try and hit a piece of work. I'm driving his head straight back in the middle, or I see it early on, and as he moves out to one side, I just block it with this arm and I stop that line from happening. So I try and keep him straight down the middle through his spine and stop him effectively in hitting that shrimp position out to one side or another. Nice little tip for retaining and striking from the mount. For more videos like this, head on over to ufcsecrets.com. Plenty more you can see there.